Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Time's Up Fantasy Sports Talk. I am your host, the one and only Waiver Wire Queen. On today's episode, I am going to talk about my top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. That's right. I don't think we all have the same list, but this is my list. And you want to look at these guys for upcoming fantasy season, or hopefully you got one of these quarterbacks as your franchise quarterback in fantasy football dynasty leagues. But before we get started, hit that subscribe button and follow me for more on fantasy sports, to include fantasy football, my fave, and fantasy basketball, which I used to play. Basketball, I used to have a nice little jump shot, but I'm retired now. However, don't one of y'all make me come up at a retirement. But anyways, y'all, hit that subscribe button to make sure your notifications are on, so you're current with what's going on in sports and you are ready for the upcoming fantasy football season. All right, y'all, so let's get right into it. I don't want to hold y'all too long. And hopefully y'all love my top 5. This is my top 5. These are the quarterbacks who I think are making an impact in today's NFL and who I feel are four out of the 5 I feel are should be targets for a fantasy football dynasty league. And you know what? Let's just get right into it. My top 5 quarterbacks. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Ooh, I know y'all not surprised by that. If you do not have Mahomes as your number 1 quarterback, I don't know what planet you are on. Obviously, he didn't play well in the Super Bowl, but I don't care. I drafted him not with the number 1 pick. I think the 4th pick in my Dynasty Superflex League, and I drafted Mahomes to be my franchise quarterback for most of the season. It worked out. I was trying something different. I don't normally draft quarterbacks. However, he produced for me. And when you're in the Superflex League, you need quarterbacks, and he's my guy. So he is my top quarterback. He is number 1 on my top 5, and I'm going to give him to you in my order of which I think. Okay, so 2020 season, let's dive right into the stats. He's 25, 4 years in the NFL. He plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. First season, he was drafted, got to sit for most of that season behind Alex Smith. Watch and learn, which is good if you can afford your young rookie quarterback that opportunity. Some teams, unfortunately, you don't have that chance. Okay, so let's talk about his stats for the 2020 season. 4,740 yards passing. He's mobile, but I prefer him in the pocket doing all those fancy passes and whatnot. 38 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That is a great ratio, in my opinion. His rating was 108.2, and his completion percentage was 66.38, which is amazing. And he was sacked 22 times on the season, which is amazing. And he was sacked for his career 67 times, which isn't bad for 4 years. And as you can see, there are some quarterbacks who are getting knocked around. Like Carson Wentz was sacked 50 times this season, and he only played 12 games. That's high as hell. Well, you know what happened in the Super Bowl, and you see how many times not Carson Wentz. Lord, that ain't Carson Wentz. You see how many times Mahomes was hit in the Super Bowl. Okay, so your franchise quarterback, you do not want him taking a whole bunch of hits. So which franchise quarterback you want to make sure that you secure that offensive line. So that is the reason why Mahomes is my top quarterback. He's talented. He's mobile. He can make the passes. Every pass he can make them. He can do a little sidearm. I can do that too. Let me try. Yeah, I'm gonna stay right here in the video world, in the podcast world. I'm not gonna get out there on the field, and I don't want to give up my talents and let y'all see what I do out here in these football streets. But nonetheless, he can make all the passes. He has a lot of talent around him. You got Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, drafted a young You drafted a young running back, and Hilaire Edwards. That's you have weapons, and the offensive line is solid. They didn't play well in the Super Bowl. Well, and that was due to some injuries. They had to move some players around. You're missing some of your key Pro Bowl type offensive linemen. You're going to struggle against that front that Tampa has. So why is he the top? He is the top because he, to me, is the most talented quarterback in the NFL right now. As I said, he can make every pass. He's mobile. He can read the defense. He's talented. I like my quarterbacks to have a little something with him, and he is. Like I said, he come with that side pass. He's amazing. He makes some great plays. And if you are going to start your franchise and you have to choose between quarterbacks, you're going to want to take Patrick Mahomes. So that is my number one. That is my top quarterback out of the top 5. Number 2, I love this guy's game. We've been hearing about him all off season. We've been hearing about him before the damn season ended, and throughout the playoffs. Okay, Deshaun Watson is my second quarterback. He is the second quarterback that I would take in fantasy football, in a dynasty league, or just if I'm starting my franchise. If I'm looking on the board and I am about to draft and I am thinking of Mitchell Trubisky, Pat Mahomes, and Watson, and someone snatches Mahomes up, I'm going with Watson. The Bears didn't get that right, but who cares? All right, so what? Start over. And we're starting over in this world, and Deshaun Watson's on the board, so I'm snatching Deshaun Watson up. He is talented. He's mobile. He can make the throws. He's amazing. He's only been in the league 4 years. He's 25. Considering the offensive line and the lack of talent that they had in Houston this past season, and with the injuries to some of the key players, he had a hell of a season. When I really looked at it, I was thinking like, oh, his statistics were going to suffer. He had his best season in the NFL, in my opinion. Statistically, he had his best season. One of the issues I have is he was sacked 49 times. Some may say, so some of that is him. He's holding on to the ball too long, trying to make the big play downfield to Will Fuller or whatnot, or Cook. Well, okay. Still, we know the story. We know that Houston gave up number 1, and they've given up draft picks to try to solidify that offensive line, and they have not solidified that offensive line, which is why Watson was sacked 49 times this season, and for his career, 174 times, which is too much for a quarterback who's only been in the league 4 years, and he's your franchise guy. And when I say he's your franchise guy, yes, he is. That is why teams are willing to give up 3-4 first-round picks to get him. You get a guy like Watson, you want to keep him. Let's look at his stats for 2020 season. Over 4,800 yards passing, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. I thought the interceptions would be more, but like I said, he surprised me. He's a hell of a player. His rating was 112, which was excellent. As you can see, it was higher than Mahomes. His completion percentage was 70.22, which is really, really good. Okay. Watson wasn't playing. Okay. Even though they had some key injuries to some of their offensive weapons, he played well. They got rid of Hopkins. He still played well. Carlos Hyde was out the door. They got David Johnson in there. He played well at times, but was ultimately hurt and out for a period of time. And if I'm starting a football team and I'm looking and seeing that Watson is the next guy on the board, I am snatching him up because he is talented. He's a humble young man. And right now he wants out of Houston for several reasons. And if I was him, I would want out of Houston too. So I'm hoping they can make it happen and send him somewhere where he has a chance to compete and win and make it to the postseason and be on a team he feels appreciates his input as the leader of the team. I'm not saying you gotta go with what he's saying, but damn, Kenny, if he's gonna be your guy, you want to make sure he has a rapport and him and your coach is on the same page. You don't want to hire a coach who's not even, running an offense that's comparative to his talent, All right, so hopefully they make that trade. I got some teams in mind. Should be looking out for him. But nonetheless, top two, got Patrick Mahomes at number one and Deshaun Watson coming in at number two, doing the damn things. Okay, so my third quarterback. And, he is one of my favorite quarterbacks. It's my favorite quarterback. However, he's number three on this list because of he's kind of getting up there in age. And it doesn't matter that he's getting up there in age, but he is still producing. MVP, Aaron Rodgers. That's right. A-Rod. Aaron Rodgers in the house. Yeah. So Aaron Rodgers is number three on my list. I was kind of going back and forth between him and Watson at number two, and I settled in on Watson as two and Rodgers as three. And if Rodgers was at that same age, 23, 24, he would be my top. He'd be the guy I snatch first. However, I'm going off of everything that I've, reviewed, age to be included in that. And just if, say, I was starting a fantasy dynasty league, who would I want my quarterback to be? And also, if I was an owner and I'm on the clock and I'm like, well, I like Watson. Okay, so doesn't matter. He's my number three. He's number one in my heart, but he's number three on my list. Okay, so let's dive right into the stats. Great season. He was only sacked 20 times. That was important. That is important. Your franchise quarterback should not be getting sacked 30, 40, 50 times. It's just impossible for you to expect your franchise quarterback to not get hurt or to start second guess some things when they're getting killed out there because you're not protecting them. All right, so MVP, obviously. Congrats, A-Rod. 4,299 passing yards, 48 TDs, which is a lot. He was throwing that rock, and he only had 5 interceptions, so that is an excellent ratio. Him and Adams, them two, they on the same page for real, throwing that rock. And then he was making sure he protected the ball. 5 interceptions. That's amazing. His rating was 121, which is excellent. And his completion percentage was 70.72, which is excellent. Now, with Rodgers, he's been in the league for 10 years, so he's been there, done that. The last few seasons were kind of, not as great, especially from a fantasy standpoint. But if you drafted him this past season, you hit the jackpot because he did something other than what we all expected. I did not expect him to come out and play that well. I expect him to be solid, but not as solid as he was. He was amazing this season, and he did his thing. He's 37, so, you got to start thinking like, well, how much longer does Green Bay have with him? They drafted Love, but is he the answer? Who knows? I don't know. He didn't get on the field. Hell, he wasn't even the backup at times. So I don't know. They may know. And you got to think of how much longer is Aaron Rodgers going to play? That is a valid question, y'all. How much longer do you guys think Aaron Rodgers is going to play? He is 37. Quarterbacks are playing into their 40s. Maybe he'll play until he's 40, 43 maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see. I do feel like he can continue to play at a high level. If they continue to protect him, he'll be able to play because he's not getting hit, knocked around. So, preserving his body. All right. So, yeah, that's my number 3 guy. Number 1 in the heart again, right? Number 4. Now, this is where it gets tricky because with my 4th and my 5th option, I was kind of going back and forth here from 4 to 6, actually, which my number 6 is, they're not. This is top 5. So 5 and 6 was really like, whoo, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Who are we going to pick? But anyway, number 4 on my list is one of my favorite quarterbacks. He's very talented, very humble. He's a leader. Russell Wilson. Most people may not have him on, in their top 5, but guess what? He's in my top 5. Okay. He's in my top 5. I'll say this. He's 32, been in the league 9 years. He's obviously with the Seahawks. We're hearing all this fake chit chatter about trades and stuff. That was Cowboy fans hoping, wishing, and wanting something that they never gonna get. Y'all got Dak, and y'all need to love on Dak. He ain't in my top 5, so or my top 6, but whatever. So I'm gonna say that was some Cowboy fan crap. The Seattle Seahawks are not trading Russell Wilson, so everybody can let that go. He has a concern, and a valid concern. He was sacked 47 times this season. Watson, 49. Wentz, 50. That is high, especially when your quarterback is starting to get up in age. And you just don't want your franchise quarterback getting hit like that. You do not. Some of it may have been a few times. Okay, well, he's holding the ball too long, trying to make a play down the field. Okay, fine. However, all of those sacks were not on him, and they need to address it. They haven't ever addressed the offensive line like they should. Okay, you patch it up with a little Band-Aid, a gunshot wound with a teeny little Band-Aid for your pinky toe. That ain't working. Nah, it's not. You're gonna have to do something because he's getting up in age, and 47 sacks is unacceptable. However, he still played well. He had over 4,200 passing yards, 40 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. He had a few games where he had at least 3 interceptions, which isn't Russell Wilson like, but hell, it happens. He's still in my top 5 because if you had to choose Russell Wilson between guys after, like Carson Wentz, you're going to take Russell Wilson all day, whether that is starting your franchise or in fantasy. You're going to want somebody like a Russell Wilson because he's going to be consistent most games. So he is number 4. His rating was 107, and I'm sorry, his rating was 105, and his completion percentage was 68.8, which is amazing. And like I said, with the sacks, you have to do something about that. Wilson is a great leader. He's got the talent. He can make the passes. I mean, the throws. He can make them. He loves throwing the ball down the field. He's mobile as hell still, so he can get out the pocket and run and get that first down when he needs to. Obviously, he can read the defense, and he's capable of making you miss on defense. So if you don't want to look crazy out there, better tackle him. Otherwise, you're gonna look crazy, and he make people look crazy. But then he gets hit. So 47 sacks should tell you. But he is someone, when you're looking at a leader and you're starting your franchise, or if it's just a dynasty league, he still has, to me, several, at least 5 to 7 years of solid football left. And if they do shore up that offensive line, it may be 40 to 42 because, as you all know, quarterbacks are playing into their 40s now. So he can still be solid. He still is solid. And he's letting them know, hey, let's get that offensive line together. Let's prioritize the offensive line. They keep prioritizing defense, and their defense is still not that good. So I don't know who's scouting. They need to holler at the Waiver Wire Queen. Let me scout somebody for them because you know what? I'm gonna get them right. Get that defense right. I mean, don't hold. Get some sacks. Put some pressure on the quarterback. But anyways, yeah. Russell Wilson is number 4. Okay, y'all. Top 5. I said top 5. So we got Pat Mahomes, number 1, Deshaun Watson, number 2, Aaron Rodgers, number 3, Russell Wilson, number 4, and top 5 was very hard. And I was going back and forth with these 2 guys. And then I had to say, eeny, meeny, miny, moe. Then I said, no, just go with the stats. When I look at players, whether it's from a fantasy perspective or just in sports, I don't like to just hop on the bandwagon, because you had one good season or half a season, whether that's football or basketball, because you find that sometimes you hop on the bandwagon after one season and that guy just isn't that guy. He was solid for a season and then whoop, come back down to reality. All right. So top 5. All right. Number 5, I have Josh Allen. He's made it to my top 5. I'm not going to hate. I was going back and forth between him and Lamar Jackson, and I just really had to go off of stats for just pretty much last season. If I go on career stats, it's still close. Some things Jackson has that are better, and then some things Allen were better statistically. However, I had to look at this past season, 2020, and just really evaluate and look at some things. And if I had to be honest with myself, if I was starting my franchise, which one of these guys would I want to go with? Jackson, yes, he won the MVP. However, he didn't have a solid season this past season, and I knew that was going to happen. And I'll say that a lot of that has to do with the talent around him on offense. Like, you're not going to win throwing the ball to your tight end all season. Like, look, it's not going to happen. But anyway, this is about the top 5, and he didn't make my top 5. I got him as number 6. Top 5, Josh Allen. That's right, Bills Mafia. Your boy made it into my top 5. I'm going to admit, Waiver Wire Queen would not mind Josh Allen on her Giants right now. I wouldn't mind throwing Danny Dimes away. I want to throw Danny Dimes right over there, throw him away, and bring Josh Allen in. Come on now, play with Saquon. What kind of duo that'll be? Nonetheless, the Bills got it right. They got their guy. Like I said, I normally don't hop on a bandwagon, and I'm not on a bandwagon because I'm not going to go for the Bills. I'm still with the Giants. However, I feel like it wasn't a fluke. I do not think this season was a fluke. I'm normally just one season. I need to see more than one solid season. And, previously it wasn't that as solid, but he's made progress each season, and he's taken it to the next level this past season. And when I looked at all the quarterbacks, I'm like, okay, who can I put in there? I at first I was going with Jackson, and then I said I can't go with him, and it makes sense with Allen. So yes, he's in my top 5. He's 24, 3 years, solid as hell this past season. No, I won't say solid. He played exceptionally well this season, and I do not think it was a fluke. They got him his number 1 guy. You got Diggs. You have talent around him. I really like the offensive weapons. I do think they need to improve in the running back situation. There are some guys out there they can look at. I think they have a solid team. Let's go into his stats. Okay, so 2020 season, he passed for over 4,500 yards, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 107.2 rating, sacked 26 times. Look at that compared to Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson. And then when you look at somebody like Carson Wentz, who, he was supposed to be a starting quarterback, played less games and was sacked 50 times, which is terrible. All right. Allen's completion percentage, 69.23, which I really think was great. He had a solid season. And like I said, he's made progress every year. He can run the ball like a mobile quarterback. He showed he can make the throws. So I don't want to say he got in the gym. He got on the field during this past offseason and worked on his game. And it's safe to say that right now he's the best quarterback out of the 3 teams in NY. So you'll have Allen, then you'll have Danny Dimes, and then you'll have Sam Darnold. Those are the 3 guys. Right now, I think it's really just only one quarterback, Allen. The other 2 are really not playing professional starting quarterback football for several reasons, which I'm not going to go into. However, Josh Allen is in my top 5. If I was doing a dynasty draft, he may be the first quarterback I take outside of Mahomes. I may take him over Watson because of he's gonna pass the ball, and he's gonna get me some touchdowns. Not only passing, he's gonna run the ball. He can run really, really well, which I love that in my quarterbacks. I love a mobile quarterback. And then you got to look, like I said, he wasn't sacked a million times, so he's protected. He's young, and he just has talent, and you want that in your young quarterback. You also want to see improvements every season, and he has improved every year. So he made my top 5. After looking at his stats and just how he's performed and handled the pressure of playing in New York State. How could you not put him in the top 5? You have to, you know. We'll revisit this next season to see if Lamar jumps in or somebody else gets bumped out and Lamar may jump in. I don't know. Baltimore needs to add some pieces. However, okay, right now, Allen is my top 5. So my top 5, let's go over that again. We got Patrick Mahomes on the Chiefs, Deshaun Watson, Houston, hopefully somewhere else. Aaron Rodgers with the Packers, Russell Wilson with the Seahawks, and Josh Allen with the Buffalo Bills. That's right. Again, congratulations, Bills Mafia. Your team has arrived and is currently the best football team out of the 3 teams in NY. Congrats. Yeah, you know, I think they'll keep it up. I think they finally have built a solid culture and they built a solid team. And to me, I don't see any reason why that would change, you know. So y'all let me know what y'all think. Who's your top 5 quarterbacks? I've given you guys my top 5 quarterbacks. Do you think I got it right with 4 to 6? Because I got Russell at 4, Allen at 5, and then Lamar at 6. Y'all let me know what you think. Who do you think is the best quarterback in the NFL? And who is in your top 5? Hit those comments and let me know what you think. And also, Aaron Rodgers. How long do y'all think he has left to play solid franchise quarterback football? All right, y'all. Y'all know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and follow Waiver Wire Queen for more. Make sure those notifications are turned on. It's going to turn up and we're going to get ready for the upcoming fantasy football season. And y'all got to know what's going on. And I got you. We here, y'all. All right. Y'all follow me on Facebook and IG at Dream Elite. Strive for excellence. And that is excellence with an X. Like BX. And also on Facebook and IG at Waiver Wire Queen, because the Waiver Wire Queen is going to get you guys right for the upcoming fantasy football season. All right, y'all. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. Peace.